Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io.
Good morning, good people. Happy Wednesday. Good morning. Welcome to the AM Actual News. And this is where we get straight into the news stories. I have about 10 to 13. Some are double trouble. No troubles, though. And we keep it positive. We go from one news story to another with the main intention to inform you, to have actual news, and to get you out of the door and to let you go about your day. All right. Good morning, everybody. Hello, 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 hello. Hey, Brandon, you caught it. Yes. Good morning. Yeah, that's a new intro song. I had to download something that will not punish me on YouTube, and I hope you like it as much as Brandon does. So, first things first, President Biden is in Angola. This is his second day already in Angola. And so this morning, he met already with the Zambian president Hakainde Hichilema, and he talked about strengthening the U.S.-Zambian relationship, focusing on shared goals for economic and democratic progress. They discussed key infrastructure projects, including the Lobito Trans-Africa Corridor and a new rail line connecting Zambia with Angola, supported by a $491 million Millennium Challenge Corporation compact. The U.S. will invest $458 million, with Zambia contributing $33 million. Both leaders emphasized the importance of attracting private sector investments and fostering resilient democracies to support sustainable growth. And by the way, I did a real deep dive in the latest newsletter that you got somewhere around 1 a.m. this night. So I really encourage you to go check it out. There's everything about the trip to Angola. Also, what do we invest? Why? What for? Who is benefiting? And why President Biden is doing it now, urgently so, before he leaves office. So if you're not subscribed, please go ahead, honest.substack.com. All right? Thank you for your support. So then President Biden also spoke to the president of Democratic Republic of Congo, the DRC. His name is Felix Tshisekedi. And they talked about strengthening bilateral ties and discussed key issues, including the, again, Lobito Trans-Africa Corridor. The two leaders emphasized the importance of creating favorable conditions for private sector investment in the DRC, focusing on good governance, transparency, and ensuring the country's wealth benefits all its people. President Biden also encouraged a continued support for Luanda process aimed at peacefully resolving the ongoing conflict in Eastern Congo. And by the way, yesterday he visited the Museum of Slavery in Angola, where he spoke about the slaves, which was 45% of all slaves that were brought to United States came from Angola. And so he visited the museum, he addressed the crowd, he met families that are connected to those who were sold to U.S. And so this was so even heartwarming and very heartfelt. And I really encourage you to read in the newsletter everything about it, because it was such an important, pivotal moment in U.S. history. It's the first time U.S. president traveled to Angola, visited the sites, and addressed the issue addressed it at face value. So Just now, they started the Libido Corridor Trans-Africa Summit, and this is Joe Biden just like about 20 minutes ago, talking about why they are investing the money and who's going to benefit. Take a look.
It's about the farmer who can get more food on more tables because of what we're doing. The worker who can count on a living wage and safe working conditions. The entrepreneur who is finally empowered to lead, innovate, and build. It matters. It matters. So thank you again for being here today and allowing me to be here. And let's get started getting this done.
And it's important to get it done. Good morning, Keith. Good morning. Good morning, Lisa. Good morning, or good afternoon, which is in Paris right now, right? Okay, so First Lady Jill Biden arrived in Italy this morning. She met with military families, and I have a full readout and some pictures to present to you in the PM actual news because it's a bit longer, but it was wonderful. And then she traveled to her ancestral, whatever you pronounce it, town. So her great grandfather came from Giso, Italy, and so she traveled to that city. And I can literally copy paste the entire speech in the newsletter because it's just so beautiful. It's beautifully written. It's so warm. It's so full of empathy. It's just amazing. But anyway, so during a visit to Giso, Italy, First Lady of the United States, Jill Biden expressed gratitude for the warm welcome and reflected on her family's journey from Giso to America. She shared the story of her great-grandparents, Gaetano and Concetta Giacoppa, who immigrated from Giso in search for a better life. And how their values of loyalty, hard work, and hospitality shaped her family's success in America. She highlighting the importance of, she spoke of her pride in being the first Italian American First Lady and her efforts to celebrate Italian American traditions. Jill Biden also gifted Giso a European holly tree as a symbol of the enduring connection between the town and its descendants in the US. And so she said, my family came from you to the United States, and this is sort of the gift back to you. So completely wonderful. And so she's in Italy, then she's going to travel to Qatar and UAE, and then finally to Paris, where she will attend on the 7th the reopening of the Notre Dame Cathedral of Notre Dame. So let's talk about something that did happen yesterday. This is not as dramatic as it sounds, but first a readout. So China imposed export ban on key minerals to the United States, escalating trade tensions. Yes, they are preparing for Trump tariffs. They also are responding to the tariffs that Joe Biden did impose in terms of chips, right? He has the Chips and Science Act. We're reopening factories in the United States. Yes, it will take several years to get the production going. Yes, we're buying the chips, semiconductors and the chips from Taiwan at this point, but some minerals and key minerals we do buy from China, yet not that much that this export ban will put our economy or our production into sort of a downfall. So the companies, and I did research this morning, that the companies say they do have enough to sustain their production for over a year, and they do have also other sources to buy it. So on Tuesday, China implemented a ban on the export of critical minerals, including gallium, germanium, and antimony, to the United States. This move follows the U.S. recent crackdown on China's semiconductor sector and strengthens China's enforcement of limits on dual-use minerals that have both civilian and military applications. The ban, which cites national security concerns, affects key materials used in semiconductors, infrared technology, weaponry, and electric vehicle batteries. The U.S. is evaluating the new restrictions and plans to respond accordingly. China's decision heightens fears that other vital minerals like nickel and cobalt could be targeted next. And so, yes, they are preparing for Trump tariffs. And certainly if he were to impose 100% of tariffs all around on Chinese imports into the United States, and they will respond with another 100% of tariffs to our export, then it becomes a whole different story. So at this point, it's not as bad as it sounds. Some good news in terms of Democratic Party. So California Democrat flipped seat in the last House race. The final House race was won by Adam Gray after Representative John Duarte, the Republican incumbent, conceded in California's 13th district. Mr. Gray's victory means that Democrats will have 215 House seats compared with 220 for Republicans. And then Schumer was reelected to stay a leader of what will be a minority in the House. So, in the Senate. Let's talk about Newsom. So yesterday I shared that California is preparing to, or getting the budget, $25 million to file lawsuits against Trump administration. It's very much connected to their water supply. And so they're preparing to really combat anything that would come their way. So Gavin Newsom spoke about that, but also what was not really mentioned. Yesterday, he delivered a speech really separating himself from Joe Biden. Maybe because he wants to run in 2028, but it's kind of interesting. So he was one of Joe Biden's top allies, specifically during the Pass the Torch movement. And so he's breaking with president over his decision to pardon Hunter. Quote, "I took the president at his word," he told Politico yesterday. "So by definition, I'm disappointed and can't support this decision." Okay. Now, another thing is Fox 5, Jesse, right? The Jesse at Fox 5. He shared the following. Take a look.
Are any Democrats willing to raise their hands and say, I'm a proud Biden Democrat? Does anybody want to be associated with Joe Biden at this point? If you are, it's an open invitation to come on the show. Come on the show and tell me you're a Biden Democrat, why you're proud. Give me one example. I don't even think Biden's getting a library.
So, Jesse, you're a few blocks away from me. You're at Fox News, Manhattan. I got you. If it's free invitation, I tagged you yesterday. It kind of went viral in your Magasphere on Twitter. I'm in. I'm not going to defend Democrats. I'm not interested in saying how proud I am of the Democratic Party because I'm not. But I am proud of Joe Biden, and I will calmly and respectfully explain why everybody who even voted for Trump over Kamala Harris should be and has all the reasons, and I'll list them again, respectfully, calmly. And I will list the reasons why every single person who voted for Trump has to be grateful and proud of Joe Biden and his results, because they're currently enjoying, every single one is enjoying his results. So if you up for it, let's go. A few blocks away, I'll be there in 10 minutes. South Korea. South Korea's president now faces the music for all the shit show that he did yesterday. So South Korea's president faces impeachment motion. Opposition leaders submitted the motion hours after President Yoon Suk Yeol resigned it. Good morning. His extraordinary declaration of martial law. So the South Korean opposition intends to declare impeachment of this president, as well as to charge him with treason, and along with him, the ministers of defense and internal affairs. The president has not appeared in public since the imposition of martial law and the attempted seizure of the parliament. So I think Kelly was commenting, good morning, Kelly. Dang it, I was hoping it was going to be C. Booker. Okay, but there was some others. Yes, this one was too cute to be called military coup in South Korea. Okay, that was the comment. Every president gets a library regardless. Yes, they will be getting a library. Biden will be, probably in Delaware. I'm glad President Biden pardoned his son. I'm President Biden's supporter. Yeah, I mean, it was really a no-brainer, you know. I took that as an invite to government and congressional, but I'm all for Olga on Fox. No, this was his invite to come on the show on Fox. And so I'm in. Listen, 10 minutes, 5 minutes away, I'll be there. they already dragged me on Fox News several times for defending Biden, so that just fits the mold. Let's talk about Trump. His pick to lead DEA, right? Drug Enforcement Administration, Chad Chronister, who is pretty much, like a sheriff in Florida. So he was picked by Trump to lead this administration. And so then yesterday he withdrew his candidacy from consideration, becoming the second Trump pick to do so soon after being nominated. Gates was the first one. And then they have all kinds of problems with what his name? Hegseth. The guy with sexual assaults, who is now reportedly comes drunk to host his Fox News show on the weekends, who also stated this. Take a look.
But in America, bars are made for socializing. Take it from me, it's where I met my 4th, 5th, and 7th wives.
Ha ha ha. So, U.S. President-elect Donald Trump is considering dropping his nominee today, Pete Hegseth, and nominating Florida Governor Ron DeSantis in his place. The Wall Street Journal reported this late night yesterday, citing people familiar with this discussion. Also, Caitlin Collins, who has Trump allegedly on speed dial, also reported that yesterday as well. So I showed you with the inauguration that Trump is selling tickets, right? Standing room to wave to him. It's from $2,000 to $12,000. Somehow it's not for sale. Well, also there's a new grift. So if you were to donate, not purchase, donate $1 million or more to Trump's inauguration, which is, by the way, paid by your and mine tax dollars anyway. So you will get to dine with Trump and JD Vance. That's a new grift here. And also somebody who stepped recently into politics, who is very known for shouting on ESPN every day at 10 a.m., Stephen A. Smith, who got into politics and somehow grew more famous than he was before. ESPN offered him this morning a contract extension of 6 years for $120 million, which is most expensive, very much comparable to literally NBA players. So other news, Trumpville. Tucker Carlson is in Moscow. I told you yesterday that he has interviewed Foreign Minister Lavrov, speaking of how, you need to get this, Americans are killing Russians in Russia. That's how he flips and explains ATACMS, the usage of ATACMS on Russian soil. That's where Ukraine now is finally allowed to strike long distance, prevent the strikes on Ukrainian cities and civilians. And so he flips the narrative and says, this is America, this is Biden killing Russians. Also, I called it yesterday. If you listen to the late night PM actual news, I called it. I said he stays in 4 seasons across Kremlin. Also, Bashar Assad, right? What's his name? Bashar al-Assad, the monster leader of Syria, who's being now pretty much overthrown by the rebels, who are not good guys either, by the way. But nevertheless, Bashar is very much supported by Russia, right? He stays at the same 4 seasons with his entire family and clan where Tucker Carlson is. And so now the rumors is Tucker Carlson has interviewed Bashar al-Assad, the Syrian dictator. This is spoken in the Russian news sphere. And so though it's unclear whether the interview already has been recorded, or will be recorded soon, but it is happening. So other news out of the Crazyville. So NATO foreign ministers wrapped up 2 days of meetings in Brussels on Wednesday. I have a picture here. Looks fancy. Yeah. So they addressed Russia's escalating campaign of hostile actions in NATO countries. During the two-day meeting, NATO allies also met with His Majesty King Abdullah II of Jordan to discuss the situation in the Middle East and the importance of NATO cooperating even more closely with its partners in the region. NATO ministers also met with Ukraine's Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha and with Kaja Kallas, the new EU High Representative in the NATO-Ukraine Council. They discussed Ukraine's most urgent needs, as well as what more allies can do to provide critical ammunition and air defense. Also, the head of Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine, his name is Sibig, brought the Budapest Memorandum to NATO headquarters. And in a video, he said this. Take a look.
This document, or this paper, failed to secure Ukrainian security and transatlantic security. So we must avoid to repeat such mistakes. That's why, of course, we will discuss with my partners the concept of peace through strength. And we have clear understanding which steps we need from our friends to do our home job. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Could you show?
Obviously, he's referring to Budapest Memorandum, right? 1994. That's what denuclearized Ukraine, where Russia, UK, and US pledged to defend, not invade, defend Ukraine's sovereignty. And so he's holding this memorandum and says, listen, you want more agreements? This thing failed. So what else do you want to do? You guys are discussing that. Keith says, I may be minority in this, but I think Ron DeSantis is much worse pick. I think too. And I think Hegseth was the guy, same as with Attorney General pick, right? Let's pick somebody nutty. So all we talk about is this. And then we slide in somebody who is a no-brainer compared to the first pick, right? Which is the lady, forgot her name now, that will be easily approved. And now DeSantis compared to Hegseth will be a done deal. And then this will be somebody who is certainly a true blue, true red supporter. And yeah, I think that will be. Volume was too low on this video. Yes, I couldn't change it. Okay, so Trump advisors propose controversial plans to end Ukraine war, ceding territory to Russia. So now we have been guesstimating. This, since the election, we're guesstimating, is Trump going to do this or that? People are, checking upon his nominees. There's a video 6 months ago, 12 months ago. What are they saying? Everybody's excited. So now, Donald Trump's advisors are exploring proposals to end the Ukraine war, including plans that would allow Russia to retain large parts of Ukrainian territory. Side note, if you read your newsletter, please read it, by the way. But I also talked about it on PM Actual News last night, and I guided you through Ukrainian regions as to where the minerals are and $13 trillion within Ukraine in terms of resources. And so there I stated that the occupied territories are most profitable ones. So for Russia, keeping those territories, it's not just wise in terms of taking Ukraine apart, but also money-wise. If they keep the territories, they can monetize them, So key figures, including Trump's incoming Russia-Ukraine envoy, Keith Kellogg, suggest removing NATO membership for Ukraine and pushing both Moscow and Kiev into negotiations using a mix of incentives and pressures. These proposals involve freezing current front lines, halting U.S. military aid unless Ukraine agrees to talks. I told you that a month ago. There will be no aid unless somebody bends a knee. And offering security guarantees to Ukraine post-agreement. Now, that's why I showed you the video before. Security guarantees. Budapest Memorandum failed. Minsk agreement failed. What security guarantees with Russia? Really? However, Ukrainian President Zelensky, despite territorial losses, continues to pursue NATO membership, and it's wary of compromising and on occupied regions. Analysts express doubts about the feasibility of these proposals, especially given Russia's interests. Anyway, I can't pronounce. Good morning. Russia's invasion and Putin's apparent strategy of consolidating further territorial gains. Trump's ability to negotiate peace within his stated timeline remains uncertain, with opposition from both Ukraine and some U.S. lawmakers expected. So, truth be told, Trump promised to fix Ukraine issue as soon as he wins the election. Within what, 24 hours? Now this is December 4th. Nothing happened. Literally, a month has passed. Nothing happened. Will he be able to fix it in 24 hours when he is back in office? No. What he would be able to do is, again, to stop the aid, right? He will be able to lift sanctions off of Russia. So he could bring some incentives to Russia to get them to negotiate and to push Ukrainians to sit at the table and negotiate. Will it lead to something beneficial for Ukraine? Hell no. Will it prevent World War III? No, because if anything, any freeze of this conflict will only benefit Russia, that gets support from North Korea, Iran, and China. So for this, it remains to be seen. And that's it. That's all I got for you this morning. I tried to be as fast as possible. 26 minutes. I think we've done pretty well. Bondi, exactly. Pam Bondi. Yes, that's the DOJ. Yeah, the new lady. Trump and Russia will force Zelensky to surrender. Yeah, and also, Brandon, to your point, if the conflict is frozen, Ukraine will have to host presidential elections as soon as 60 days upon the end, the freezing of the conflict happens officially, right? They sign it today. In 60 days, they have to host elections because Zelensky's term has ended. There is martial law. There is a war. So obviously no elections are happening. If the conflict is frozen, he will be pushed to run. And so imagine somebody is a war president, then has to run for election. And there's so many candidates who really love to be in his place because they're very much pro-Russian. Hint, hint. Think of Romania. Think of Moldova. Think of Georgia. What happens now with all these people protesting? So that can be a possibility for Ukraine too. So you not just push Zelensky to agree to withdraw from NATO and all that kind of stuff. You can push for elections. So Putin can say, I'm not going to sign any agreement with an illegitimate president. This notion is already all over Fox News, by the way. So they can say, okay, hold on, do the elections, and then I'm going to sit at the table and sign something with you because otherwise you're not legitimate president. So why am I going to negotiate? And Putin has all the rights to say so. So for this reason, remains to be seen. Okay. Appreciate you, Rosemary. Good morning. Thanks, Lisa. Thank you. I know what you're getting in. Yes, I'm also on his side. Well, we'll see. We'll see on which sides he is, right? If he wants to run. He never said that he wants to run for second term. So we don't know if he will be running. That remains to be seen. Also, nobody officially declared that they will be running. So, that put aside. Ukrainian, hey, Janetta, good morning. Ukrainian citizens are displaced in other locations. Yes, and I mean, they can just they have this app Dia where you upload your biometrics and they do now weddings online, like on the app. You agree, I agree, and it doesn't matter which countries we're in. So they probably can also do this type of stuff for voting. I'm still a citizen, so I probably will find out. Thanks. Have a great day. Yeah. See you tonight on the news. Dirty deeds done dirt cheap. Jay. Good morning, Jay, by the way. Yeah, indeed. And everywhere. So we'll keep an eye on it. All right, guys, have a great day. Go kick some butts. All right. Keep it positive. Keep your head on a swivel. Consume actual news. If you haven't read your newsletter and you have some time, go ahead, read it. It was about Biden and Angola, the deep dive about our investment in Africa and why it's so needed. Also, Dr. Biden's 4-day trip to all those countries, what she's doing, where she's speaking, Ukraine's mineral wealth, that's hence the map in the background, South Korea's political turbulence, and more actual news, way more actual news. So thank you so much for joining. See you tonight. Have a great day. All right? Have a good one.